If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place.
You're listening to Africa Business News on Africa Business Radio, towards a profitable Africa.
Shares in Japan were lower on Thursday as the Bank of Japan kept monetary policy steady. The Japanese yen last traded at 109.56 per dollar, strengthening from an earlier low of 109.67. In its statement, the BOJ said Japan's economy is likely to continue on a moderate expanding trend as the impact of the slowdown in overseas economy on domestic demand is expected to be limited, although the economy is likely to continue to be affected by the slowdown for the time being. It seems as though there was much more expectation of easing in the October meeting, but there's some positive signs coming from the global economy. Tom Learmouth, Japan economist at Capital Economics, told CNBC's Street Signs on Thursday. He added that a broader measure of consumption for October released this week showed a much smaller drop-off in consumption following a sales tax hike that month. All that supports the Bank of Japan saying on hold for the feasible future, he said. Just before we go, let's consider this thought. The secret of change is to focus on your energy, not on fighting the old, but on building the new. To end the Africa Business News, here are the highlights again. Digital technology will enhance microfinance banks' operations in Nigeria, says Victor Mba. Government capital release hit 1.2 trillion naira in 2019 in Nigeria. GTB, UBA, and 8 other banks record 135.15 billion naira earnings from e-transactions. Buhari okays forensic audit in Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC). In Tanzania, cargo revenue rise in Lake Tanganyika ports. To get to the root of Eskom's problem, start with an independent forensic audit, says President in South Africa. And in Kenya, beware of planned Matatu go-slow in Nairobi starting today. Donald Trump is impeached and faces trial in the U.S. Senate. Shares in Japan lower as central bank keeps monetary policy steady. Thank you for listening. You can follow us on Twitter at Africa Biz Radio, on Instagram, Africa Business Radio, and on Facebook, Africa Business Radio. I remain Topper Samuel. Africa is not a country. It is not a big homogeneous market. It's thriving with some of the world's fastest growing economies. To find out more, log on africabusinessradio.com towards a profitable Africa.